Man, let's get this shit cracking. Always love when I upload the video. First thing I notice is that on the YouTube, there's like subtitles on my shit. It's pretty interesting. So sometimes when I say, yo, my fat ass is sitting in, it'll say something else. I think it said like cracked ass or something like that. I don't know. It was weird, but here we go. We are turned up. The music started. They got some old Dr. Dre. I'm talking about from the 2001 album. What is this? Explosive. That's what that record is called. That's classic. But anyway, welcome. This is the Memecool Jackson Show. I am your dusty ass host, Memecool Jackson. You notice that I'm repping the purple today. Got my Laker hat on, got my Kobe shirt on. You can't really tell, but it's lit. Yeah, man, we're about to dive into the show. We got a handful of things to discuss. There's a lot of interesting things going on. And some of this is gonna be sports heavy. I'm even gonna introduce a good friend of mine who I did an interview with, and so if you're watching this video, you can go to the next video and you can hear audio of the interview with my man Jason Hicks, who is a young entrepreneur. So, always good to see not only a fellow brother, but just a brother in general, really trying to like pave his own way, create his own path. And him and two of his good friends, they have a magazine that they created around this time last year. So they're actually approaching their 1-year anniversary. So I wanted to make sure that not only did I give, a good friend of mine an opportunity to, showcase his magazine, but, he's going to tell us an interesting story about his interactions and his hangouts with Tupac's mom. My friend Jason is a well-accomplished basketball player too. So, during the interview, you'll hear the stories. You'll hear some laughs, some jokes. It's a pretty short little 15-minute interview, but it was just cool just to hear about him and kind of how the magazine got started and what their plans are for the future. And the magazine is called Green Tea, GRN TEA. And so, I'm going to put that in front. Can y'all see it right there? Yeah, man, this is pretty cool, man. This is a whole magazine that him and his homies created. So, during the interview, we highlight this. They put out an issue bi-monthly, which is pretty cool. So like I said, they are approaching their 1-year anniversary. So shout out to Jason and his homies, and we'll dive into everybody's names and the entire state of the magazine and the state of the interview later in the show. But before this song runs out, let me go ahead and intro the show, and then we're gonna dive right into it. Hey, it's your boy Memecool Jackson. We are back. It is Thursday, November 14th, man. We halfway through. This is crazy, but I'm gonna cut that shit off so we can intro the show real quick. Your boy is back. We're here for another 2-hour sit-in type of session where you can listen to me ramble and rant about shit you probably don't care about. Either way, today's show is going to be kind of lit. We have lots to discuss, like always. A couple big things that have kind of popped up over the last couple days, a couple of sad things. I mean, we just have all types of things to talk about today. I am going to discuss a friend of mine. I was just talking about him on the video recording, but now that we're live on the radio, I will also speak about him. But we have a short interview from my man, Jason Hicks. And what'll happen is I'm going to talk about him in this magazine that him and his friends created called Green Tea. And then what I'm going to do is after the show, and we'll be up in the morning, but I'm going to post the audio of the interview. Didn't get any video because it was just a short little quick thing, but it's about 15 minutes. So if you have the time, follow up, go to the YouTube page, like and subscribe, and then check out the interview or listen to the audio with my man Jason Hicks. I think if you have any interest in gaming and nightlife, and if you have any dreams and aspirations to be an entrepreneur, my man is doing big things, and he is well connected. He works real hard, and so it's good to see him. Especially as a young African American brother, it's good to see him out here killing it and doing the things that he loves to do. So you'll be able to hear that entire interview, which I said it's only about 15 minutes long, but I'm gonna have that up on the YouTube page hopefully by tomorrow morning. Well, it will be. It'll be up at the same time the video of this show is up. So shout out to him, man. Him and his old team. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But I just wanted to intro the show. Man, we're going to get back to the music real quick, man, because, it just is what it is. I got to play my favorite Ludacris record. Well, one of my favorite Ludacris records. So we're going to get into the music, man, and we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Meme Jackson Show, and we are live every Tuesday and Thursday on Track Talk Radio. Let's do it. So like I was saying, we're going to talk about Jay, talk about his magazine, talk about how I'll be busting him up on the basketball court. That's easy work. No, I'm a hooper for life. Ball is life. What else are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss something that's been 3 years in the making. 3 years. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's kind of bogus. For a few reasons, mainly because 3 years is way too long for this to finally happen for this person. But also I feel like based on the timing and the day that it's going to happen, that I think it's just BS, and it's a way to get people to shut up and stop talking about it. And this situation is Colin Kaepernick. So we're going to talk about that. It's all football related, but like there's a lot of people try to say, oh, well, you talk about sports too much on your show. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I talk about the stuff that's interesting and relevant to me, and the things that I see that I think are worth talking about on this show. This show is my show. If you have a problem with it, what I suggest you do is, rather than complain, send me some stuff that you would like to talk about. I say that very frequently. And I'll probably talk about it, especially if it's interesting. Simple. But we are going to start the show off with that because I think it is something that needs to be said. We also have a very, very big thing to talk about, which is Mr. Byron Allen versus what seems like the entire world. My man is fighting against discrimination in the highest levels of Hollywood. And that probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but I think it is a pretty big deal given, all that we see that goes on in Hollywood and how minorities are, and I don't even know if it's just specifically minorities, but I think when you look at how TV is kind of set up, most, if not all of your shows, and now it's very different because you have a lot more networks and there are people who will put shows on. But when you look at like prime time television, we are just now within the last like 10 to 15 years getting to the point where you see a lot more minorities on screen, having leading roles, and I'm saying like in bunches, not just like one or two people here and there. We're talking about a lot of people getting these opportunities. It's just not seen very often. So I think within the case and the trial that he's going through, I think there are going to, because he has gotten a small victory as of today, but you are going to see where doors will start opening up. And I think it's good that this is happening right at the same time that Tyler Perry's opening his own studio, because it just means that the opportunities will be twice as much. Because these are victories that, people deserve. You look at some of these jobs and these professions, such as acting and then being, heads of companies and CEOs and all this type of stuff. Like, it's something that even working for a major corporation like I have in the past, one of the things that they talk about when you go to conferences and things like that is how they're trying to make a shift and make things more equitable and put more minorities in positions to really impact change. And like, you want to see some of these people start to own their own networks and be able to put in new shows and bring people up Like, bring these people out of their hells and use their talents and allow them to be great. But when you look at like the overall body of Hollywood, I'm sure that if you ask a lot of people, they probably would tell you that, in most cases, some of these roles you're going out for, they're not going to go to you. They're going to go to the other people. And some people are even willing to go to lengths where they make some, and I'm going to say they make some of these white people fit these roles that should go to minorities. You see it all the time. So I'm thinking that based on what I read about this situation, when I read it a couple weeks ago, it wasn't at the point that it is now, but it sounded like overall he was trying to, really fight for some change. And at one point, my man had named the NCAA in the lawsuit and then squashed the beef with them and somehow got them to be on his team to help fight this shit. So I think even little things like that is crazy. So we're going to dive into that. Let's see what else we got. Man, I have a lot of friends who have small businesses and, a lot of people who are trying to make come-ups, whether they be writers or actors and, like young entrepreneurs. It's funny that we're on the subject of that with the interview with Jason Hicks that you'll hear about later. But being on that topic, I started to think about, like, why don't I see more people supporting their friends the way that they support celebrities? Like, you look at a celebrity's picture and they're getting millions of views, and I always see my friends' names up on those things. But then I see other people that we know, mutual people that we actually know, and they post a pic and like you never see those same names pop up with the likes and all that type of stuff. So I have some questions surrounding the, whether or not people actually support their friends the way they support celebrities. And no, this is not for me. If I don't get support, I don't really care, man. I'm used to not getting that or getting it from just a small group of people. And as long as I have my people, I'm straight. Would it be nice to have, however many subscribers? Yeah, because some of these jokes are funny. Some of this stuff is funny, and, my beard looks good. I want to get noticed, you know what I'm saying, to some degree. But at the same time, like, I'm not somebody that's like, yo, man, y'all are haters, y'all are assholes because y'all not supporting me, But I know that there are some people who genuinely feel that way because they work their asses off and they don't get shown the same appreciation by their friends. But their same friends are the people that are on there, like, bigging up Kim Kardashian and, looking at whoever's on the cover of some magazine and being like, oh, they're so amazing, they're so beautiful. And it's like, even if your friends aren't doing anything at some crazy high level, like, the least you could do is, show them love and support, provide them with some comments, good feedback, and just, help keep them motivated and keep them, going down the, their path for whatever they're pursuing. You don't want people to get discouraged because some people genuinely lean on the love and support of others. So, like, you want to make sure that you're not making these people feel like they're not good enough and that you only care about, these specific celebrities. Because you got to remember, those celebrities don't know who the F you are. They don't care about y'all. Not to say that you shouldn't like them, but just, like, why give all your love to somebody that doesn't fucking know you? But then, like, leave your friends, hanging. Like, that shit's corny. Excuse me. We about to jump right in, man. Let's get it. Hey, your boy is back. Cut the music off, man. We had the Lil Wayne Fireman playing. That's an old school cut. Been handling the game so long, my thumbs bruised. That's the hardest line of the record. That will forever be classic. I probably say that to myself like 3 or 4 times a week, mainly while I'm playing Xbox. As I'm sitting in here, usually playing, Batman Arkham Knight. I am playing that. I'm about 81% done with the game, which is, I'm going to clap it up. That's a milestone for me, man, because I don't really play video games like that, if we're just being honest. So, being 81% complete with a video game is a big deal for me. I don't even play 2K like that. Like, all my careers, I buy the game every year, and I literally go through the rookie season, and I never touch the game again. Same thing with Madden. I don't be playing that shit. Like, and the last campaign I played was, some Call of Duty game. It took me like 1.5 years to finish that because I just don't play video games. But Arkham Knight has kept me occupado, so I don't even think that's a word. But I've been playing that. And so I think about that Lil Wayne line. Been handling the game so long, my thumb's bruised. My thumbs get bruised very easily just from swiping on all these memes all day. And we are tuned into the Meme Jackson show. So if you guys are feeling down and depressed, go to my IG, man. Under my Instagram, the name Meme Jackson. That's all you need. Type that in, and there's 23,000 memes at your disposal, and then a lot of pictures and videos of me singing in the car, and then my days that I get my hair cut. The whole page is pretty dope. It's dusty, it's funny, it's all of that shit. So I saw a lot of people on my timeline today talking about they were sad, the weather's changing, the days are shorter, people are in their feelings, and I get it because that shit happens, but that's okay. Check my stuff out, get these laughs, get yourself to a good place, make yourself feel better. Add this to your self-care routine. Look at Memecool's IG, listen to Memecool's show, send DMs to Memecool, send memes to Memecool, do all of that stuff. It will make you feel better because I'm delivering laughs all day. It's a good show. So we're going to jump right into what I feel is the most important thing that we need to talk about. And I'm going to tell you why I feel like 3 years is a very long wait for this to happen. But I also, to some degree, feel like it's kind of BS. I think it's just a huge publicity stunt. But this Saturday at 3 p.m. in Georgia somewhere, some undisclosed location, or maybe they announced it and I just didn't hear that detail. But Colin Kaepernick is going to try out for NFL teams. Now, you might be wondering, why the F is this a big deal? It kind of isn't, but it kind of is, only because Mr. Kaepernick lost his job because he decided to speak out against, hate in our world, the evil that is unarmed people being murdered by police, overzealous officers. The fact that it happens to a lot more minorities, or no, I won't say more, a lot of minorities, because it seems to be happening to all kinds of people, obviously. But taking a stand for injustice is what cost my man his job. He was an NFL quarterback. You might remember he even took the San Francisco 49ers to a Super Bowl a few years back. After the lights went out, right around halftime of that game, they came out. Baltimore gave them work. Baltimore wins the Super Bowl. After that, Colin had a bad year, a really bad year, but then the following year, he actually wasn't that bad, even though the team was absolutely dismal. They were awful. But he statistically was not that bad. But he did start doing one thing that was very different. He started kneeling before the games. You're probably going to ask, well, Minkle, what's the significance of the kneeling and why is that such a big deal? Well, I'll tell you, young sports fans. The kneeling apparently was such a big deal, and I get it, man, because it's like you're at your job, you're taking a stance. The stance could potentially hurt the owners and their money and their business, so they got upset. I get it. They are wrong for that because you should allow your man to take a knee. I think at the time there were no rules against kneeling or standing for the national anthem. There was no real requirement around it. You used to have people all the time that would just wait in the tunnel while it was being sung. People were not required to be on the field and have a hand over the heart and do none of that stuff was a requirement. Now, I love being in America as much as the next person, but I'm not going to let a whack-ass song dictate how patriotic I am. And a lot of people live and die by this trashy-ass national anthem. And so people seemed a bit upset while during the song, which has multiple verses, by the way, and if you are not familiar with verse 2 of the record, please go check that shit out. Bruh, don't even try to tell me it's not. It's a slave record, fam. If you look at the lyrics to that, bro, yes, there are parts of the song that are like, yo, we're all about country, we're all about freedom, this and that, and that and the third, whatever people say. But the way I interpret it is that the song is specifically for white folks, for their freedom, not everybody else's. Now, things are made and created for specific purposes, and then they are repurposed. So I can see how someone was like, hey, let's make this the first verse. Let's make this our anthem. And better yet, we'll play it before sporting events, as some sort of show of unity and all these great things. Colin decides that he wants to take a knee during these songs being played. And a lot of people started to, look at it as like, well, is he disrespecting the military? Which no, because he got the idea to kneel from Nate Boyer, who was a well-established military man, who was also, I think he was a long snapper in the NFL. They had a long discussion about it. Colin asked, not that he asked permission, he asked if the option that he had picked would be one that would be suitable. And believe it or not, kneeling used to be a huge sign of respect, but unfortunately, there are people who pay out big money to go to these games. There are a lot of white people who do not believe that these things that primarily are highlighted a little bit more when they happen to African Americans, but there are a lot of white people who do not believe that any of this stuff is a real issue. Colin does believe that it is, so he started kneeling. People got upset after his season was over. Even though statistically he was not that bad, he no longer had a job after that. So basically, he didn't commit any crimes. He wasn't suspended. He was not injured. It was nothing of the sorts. He was just basically told not to come back, and not so many words. And then, obviously, because why would you as a team owner want to stand out all on your own and sign the guy that nobody wants to touch because he's taken a stance? A stance that is such a big deal that our goofy ass president had to, say some stuff about it. He had to get all these people involved. It became a spectacle. So, you're looking at a man who's lost his job and has not been provided an opportunity. Not to throw shade at these gentlemen, because I respect them. I was big fans of them, especially one that I will talk about. But I'll highlight two people for you that we saw leave the NFL and return in less than 3 years with criminally based offenses. So, I'll start with Plaxico Burress. My man literally shot himself at a nightclub. Now, in the state of New York, firearms are not allowed. So if you get caught with a firearm, you do time. So he went to prison for shooting himself. Suspended by the league, so on and so forth. Rehabs from an injury, literally goes to prison, comes back, he plays in the NFL within 3 years. Michael Vick. Michael Vick goes to prison for, financing the efforts to fight dogs and do all these horrible things. People crucified him. Mike went to prison. Within 3 years, he still had a job. Now, I fully believe that both of those gentlemen, they earned their opportunities. I don't feel like Colin needed to earn his opportunity because he had, outside of play, if you want to speak specifically about play, I get it. But outside of his play, there was nothing about him that warranted him not being given another opportunity, even somewhere else. Now, in these last 3 years, you can go to every single team, and if you look at who their backup quarterbacks are, you can tell, eye test, stats, all of that type of shit. You can literally put Colin's name next to each of those quarterbacks, and he is better than those people. In most cases, there were probably, I'd say in this last 3 years, probably the only person I may not have said that he would have been better than would have been Nick Foles. And you can say that because Nick Foles technically he's a glorified backup, and he led a team to a Super Bowl. So on the list of all backup QBs, Nick Foles would probably be the only one that you probably wouldn't take Kaepernick over at the time based on production, so on and so forth. But like I said, the reason why Cap didn't have a job, it had nothing to do with, at least from outside perspective, civilians, Monday morning quarterbacks like myself, it did not look like he lost his job because of his skill set. It looked like he was being blackballed, basically. Like, we don't want you in the league because you've taken a stance, you've drawn too much attention to us, and us as a conglomerate, we don't know what to do because deep down we only care about the money and we do not care about player safety as much as we claim. We don't care about their families. We don't really care about the fans. We only just want to take their money. And we definitely do not care if black people are killed by police. Now, I'm making these outrageous claims against the NFL because I truly believe that if you did care, you would do a better job with a lot of these situations. And you can name a ton of them. A lot of these things happen and they don't take action the same way. You have an owner who was a part of a prostitution ring. He's been able to keep his job. He signed a player who, and I'm based on, hopefully, because today was Thursday, hopefully the meeting, we'll get some information about the meeting on Antonio Brown, but Robert Kraft, who was involved in a prostitution ring, which went to like the Supreme Court, FBI is involved, all these things, still gets to keep his job and own his team. He signs a player who has abuse allegations against him, and then he cuts him, does not pay him after he guarantees money to him. So that's an example of where owners get precedence and then players kind of get the shaft. Now, I'm not absolving Antonio of any guilt, but I'm just providing you with examples of kind of how ownership versus players versus fans, how all this shit kind of looks from the outside perspective. But again, we're in this situation where 3 years is a long time for somebody to go without having an opportunity when they're clearly better than most of the people that play the same position as him. There are other people who have done the kneeling thing, not been given opportunities, and then been called well before a 3-year mark. So this Saturday, it's 3 years he's waited for this opportunity. There should, according to Stephen A., there's going to be about 22 representatives from, different NFL teams, and they're going to be there to watch him go through a workout. And hopefully, if he's been saying he's ready, so hopefully he shows out, because I have a feeling that this is all a stunt to basically satisfy the majority. The majority of the people, and I'm talking about people all across whatever, the entire earth, a lot of people believe that he should have had an opportunity by now. I think the NFL is tired of hearing about Colin Kaepernick should have a job. So I think what they've done, and I think this was probably compromised. You hired Jay-Z. I bet Jay-Z made a fuss about it and what they said, because this is the first time they've ever done this. I'm sure what the league said was, look, here's what we're willing to do for you, because we want to be done with this. We hired you to help us with the music, and now you're trying to use your power to pull strings for one specific black guy. So what we want to do for the black guys, we're going to provide him with a stage so he can go showcase his talents. By doing that, we're giving teams the opportunity to say that they looked at him, and then they can firmly say that they're not planning to take him. The reason that some of this is so weird is because it's week 10 of the NFL season. Now, Miami needs a quarterback, but they're probably looking at the draft. Chicago currently needs a new quarterback probably, but their backup is better than their starter. There are a lot of teams who may need a quarterback, but no one usually signs a quarterback in week 10 unless the team is either on the way to literally being on vacation by early to mid to late December, which is the entire month of December, or you have somebody who's significantly hurt. And there are none of those situations. So this just seems like something to where they can get all of us to finally shut up about why Colin Kaepernick does not have a job. Now, what I hope happens is I hope he goes out there and I hope he exceeds expectations to the point where a team looks at it and says, if we don't take him, we would be stupid. Because there are a lot of teams who have quarterbacks that are barely better than my freaking grandma. Shout out to Orly Arnold. Grandma, I love you. But I think that it's all just some bullshit. And I'm calling it bullshit because, like I said, on a Saturday, teams are prepping for their game. And they led, every little report that came out said that it was going to be head coaches and front office staff. Bro, unless the team is on bye week, and even then they're essentially like on a mini vacation, how many teams are really on a Saturday going all the way to Georgia to check out a workout for one fucking guy. That's what makes it weird, bro. This is the first time they've ever done this. They set this up specifically for Colin. So Colin, you better go out and you better kill that workout. Because if not, it's done, bro. And I know you're not the one out here being like, you're not doing what Antonio's doing, which is being on your IG and getting all pissy because you're not getting opportunities and talking a bunch of shit. You're not doing any of that type of stuff. But after this has to be done. You have to go away because no one's gonna wanna like deal with this anymore. And I'm not saying of the people, because the people will always support you. I will always be a supporter of you and your efforts. But I think in regards to the football thing, it's gonna be done. So you will have to acknowledge that football is done for you forever. Because if they don't pick you up now, even though for the last 3 years you've been putting in all this work, and we've seen the videos, Colin looks good out there. He looks like he's in great shape. He looks like he's ready to play now. And a lot of people believe that. But if you don't kill that workout, you're not going to get signed. You will not have another opportunity. It's just not likely that someone will sign you after being out of the NFL for 4 years. That hardly ever happens. Now, if it does, and this might sound crazy, but if Ray Rice decides that he wants to come back, does that mean that we should give him an opportunity as well if they're going to start open? Because this opens up a new door, I think. And you really have to start thinking about that stuff. Are there guys who have been kicked out of the league that should get other opportunities now? One-on-one workouts where they get to showcase their talent. Like, it's basically a pro day in the middle of the season for one guy. So, it's been 3 years. Colin has an opportunity this weekend to prove whether or not he can still play the game of football at the quarterback position. Man, I wish you the best of luck, my brother. Outside of football, I think you are an excellent human. You are a warrior, a true soldier, and you will go down in the history books as being one of the greats who essentially gave up everything just to raise awareness. And unfortunately, we live in a world where we allow rich white men to kind of dictate everybody's future. And unfortunately, I don't know, maybe we just didn't stand behind you early enough. And maybe our mouths and our pockets aren't as big as the people that sit above you, but they did everything they could to crush you. And that shit is fucked up. And I'm saying that because it was clear that he was blackballed. It was clear that he was being held out of the NFL and not being allowed to work because he took a stance. Like I said, he was not injured. He didn't do anything criminal. And like I said, we've had guys. I talked about this a few minutes ago. We had a guy who shot himself at a nightclub. Possession of a firearm, got another chance. Oh, here's a better one. I totally forgot about this. What's Buddy's name? He was a wide receiver. I forget his name, but he literally killed a person while driving a car. I think he got a DUI for it. And even he got another opportunity. If I remember his name, oh my God. And if somebody's listening to this and you can reach out to me, I know he played for the Patriots. I think he played for the Jets maybe. But yeah, he ended up killing a person walking across the street while he was driving his fancy ass car around late at night. Fucked around, killed somebody, and he was able to come back and play in the NFL. So why did we crush Colin Kaepernick and not allow him an opportunity, all because he spoke out on something that we all know is wrong? You've all seen these videos. We're all on the internet all day. We all saw these people getting murdered for no reason. We saw a guy being asked for his ID. On video, cop asked him for his ID. He had already let him know that he had a permit to carry and he had a weapon in the car. Grabs his ID and the cop just unloads on him and then tries to say that he feared for his life. Come on, fam. You killed the guy. That's what you did. It took 5 years for the guy who choked out Eric Garner just to lose his job. It goes to show you, man, the people who are in the highest positions of power do not care. They're more concerned with protecting these people, protecting their own asses, and protecting their own interests over doing what's right. If you got a person on tape killing somebody, how can you stand by that and defend them and pretend like it doesn't exist? It's pathetic. So, Colin, hope you kill it, man. I genuinely hope you kill it. But, speaking on police brutality, I was sent a video today, and I actually think I had seen this shit before and just didn't realize who the person was. And it's not a white person versus black person. This is a white girl getting, I'm going to use the word because we use it. It gets used for us. We're going to use it for her. Excuse me. On video, this girl I went to high school with, and I'm going to say I'm not close with her. Her and I had limited interaction. She's just a girl that went to my high school. She knows a lot of people that I know, and I know enough of her to kind of make some assumptions about the video. But so, I think this was in 2017 or something. I'm not going to say this yet. I'll say her first name. I won't say her last name. This young lady named Lauren. She's out in Colorado, and there's a video of her basically being brutalized by police, which that was the word that I was going to use. She's being brutalized by police. And it looked like the charges were, it said that she was caught, I guess, I'm assuming smoking weed out in public. She's a service animal too. So, and then this was kind of the foul part. There were several foul parts about the video, but then this is kind of one of those things where, and I'm saying this because they say it to us, and I'm looking dead in the camera. When white folks tell black people, well, why didn't you just comply? Why didn't you just do what they said? Things would have been easier for you if you just be quiet. So, in this video, she gets to experience why it's not that simple. So, she's being taken into the jail. I guess Lauren is under the impression that she should be able just to pay a fine and then go back out. And they removed her service animal, which I think that is, and the clip of the video starts like midway through the altercation, and it's just providing you with some context at the bottom of the screen. But I guess she's been separated from her service animal, which is kind of foul. And then what happens is they're just having what seems like a conversation. She's not going crazy, waving her arms. She's not doing any of that shit. Now, like I said, I know of this girl. I've seen her enough to know that at one point in her life, and I know from friends of mine who have given me strong accounts of stories of interactions they've had with her that were not very pleasant. She is the type who does not have a filter and doesn't have a problem kind of, standing firm on what she believes and kind of running that mouth. Now, I'm the same way, so I'm not giving her a hard time for that. But I want people to understand that if you are that type of person, that makes it harder to just comply. Because if you don't believe that you've done anything, your natural reaction is that you're going to want to comment back. You're going to want to say things back. Now, the problem is you have a lot of these cops that they become irritated when people try to backtalk them because they believe that, look, if you walk into a space and then another person walks into a space, but that person has a badge and a gun and a full-on uniform, they tend to believe that in those moments that they have a significant more amount of power than you do. Now, most people who are, alpha type personalities, they believe that when they walk into a room, it doesn't matter who the F is in there, that they are, almighty powerful. Not a problem. But again, saying what you guys say to us, why don't you just comply? Just be quiet. Just shut your mouth, because it isn't that simple. So she's under the impression that she's going to be able to just get out pretty quick. The cops are explaining to her that's not going to happen. Now, where things get weird is that there's a part of the video that is not shown. Now, even in the lawsuit, they say body cam footage of the part where she claims to have made a suicidal threat. That is non-existent, apparently. Now, the cops start saying to her that she's either going to go on suicide watch or she's going, what was the other option? I think she was going to be restrained or something, put in the chair. or I think it was something else. I don't know. Two options that she was not a fan of because she was trying to say, look, I did not say anything of the sort. I have no intentions to kill myself. That's crazy. She just wants to be reconnected with her service animal. You can understand that. Now the situation's starting to get tense. You're probably getting mad because you're communicating one thing and they're trying to tell you something else. Now, I would probably feel the same if someone was looking at me saying, oh, you're trying to say that you're suicidal. I'm like, fam, I'm not. I'm literally telling you, I'm trying to do this. Let's get this process underway, whatever the case may be. So Lauren's running her mouth, and then they say they're going to tase her. So they open the door. They ask her to turn around. And if you watch the video, to some degree, she's complying, but she's still speaking. I guess cops, they tend to get tired of that shit. They don't want to hear you run your mouth, because they think in those moments that they're better than you. Or that maybe because they have the power in that situation that you should just be quiet and just listen to what they got to say. Which I think that's foul because you're literally looking at another adult. You're trying to dismiss them and keep your foot on their throat essentially, and you're wielding your power to do so, which I get. We do that all the time to people. So, but what happens is they basically pull her out, they strap her into a chair, and then by this time it's like 6 cops. Now, if you watch this video, Lauren she's a small white female. There's multiple male and female cops surrounding her. Now, where I get confused and where I think things become excessive is I think you need to read the room and understand who you're dealing with. She was not in there with some 6'4" big ass black dude, or big ass guy, big ass girl. It was nothing like that. It's a small, very petite, it almost looked like when they grabbed her, I was like, oh, y'all be careful, y'all gonna break her in half. She's very small. But then when they put her in the chair, they strap her into the chair, and then the cop standing behind her grabs her neck with some serious force. Now, if that happens to you, and then cops are yelling out commands, telling you to stop resisting and, don't move, but then some person's grabbing your neck and pulling on your neck, when your body starts to feel that pain, it's going to react in other ways. You know how when you used to go to the doctor and they'd hit your knee with that little rubber thing in a certain spot and then your leg would kick out? That's what happens when your body's just reacting, So if my neck is being grabbed, I'm gonna start to fidget. They end up tasing her while she's in the chair. So now, to complete the story, Lauren is now, she's been in, I don't know if the suit has been settled, but she's suing the Denver Police Department. The police department does not feel like they were excessive at all. Now, if you watch the video, it looks excessive in certain aspects. I get it. If y'all are tired of somebody running their mouth and you want them to shut all the way up, you're going to do some things. I feel like the threat of the taser, and then when they walked in the cell and they asked her to turn around and she immediately complied, I feel like everything after that was unnecessary. So at one point in the video, you see her turning around. So one cop is holding her hands behind her back, trying to cuff her. There's another cop who just reaches up and grabs the back of her hair and starts pulling on her hair, which, again, read the room, know the person you're dealing with. You did not need to do that. Now, when you watch the video, you can tell that there are certain cops in that situation who were just looking at ways that they can exert their dominance. And maybe they've had a tough day, and this is one of those things. So it's like, here's what I'll do. You ever seen a fight video and you see where people are fighting and there'll be random people that come out of the screen out of nowhere and they smack people or hit people and they run away real quick? Or they get all hyped up and they're acting like tough guys. That's what a lot of cops do. The situation is between a couple of people, and then you have people that come out of nowhere and try to be like, oh, I'm going to help. And they jump on them and they do all these unnecessary things, and it's just bullshit. It's part of the reason why Cap was kneeling, because this shit is stupid. It's horrible. Remember when Oscar Grant got killed? Fruitvale Station? The person who killed him was the guy who just came from out of nowhere trying to help. Overzealous cops. Those are the people who are excessive. If y'all had this young lady, and even if she's annoying as a motherfucker, excuse my language, even if y'all had her restrained to the chair, was the taser necessary? It never is. But that same shit that y'all were upset about Cap kneeling for, because you thought it was, maybe he's being selfish, he only cares about black people, and da-da-da-da-da. He's kneeling for her too, because that shit is ridiculous. I get it. Cops have a hard job. I'm not saying the job ain't hard, but damn. Does the training not allow for you to be nice until you need to be a warrior Rambo type of nigga? Because I feel like that's the kind of place that I'm in at life. I'm hella nice. Very caring, comforting, hold the door open for people, speak to people with respect. But I guarantee you, if it need to crack off, hey, I'm with it. We can get it and not turn into the Hulk. And it's bad news for a lot of people. But there's a time and a place for that. Not every interaction that a cop has to have with a civilian needs to escalate to the point where you're grabbing somebody's neck and trying to tweak them all types of play. Like, bro, what if you end up hurting her, snapping her neck on accident? It's been known to happen. I mean, the guy who choked Eric Garner to death, tried to say he was just trying to restrain him. Oh, that's convenient, and you killed him. What was his offense? Y'all was upset because he had loose cigarettes? We got child kidnappers, rapists, like murders. We got all these things. Y'all killed my man over some loose cigarettes. And then you're mad at somebody using their platform to raise awareness for it. I'll never understand it. How white people can skydive, swim with sharks, go on great hunting expeditions, do the craziest shit. Like climb Everest. Y'all do all these crazy wild things, but you're scared of black people. And you're so scared to the point that you don't really want to, like, most of you, a lot of you do, because you're riders and we love you for that shit. But the vast majority hates the idea of admitting that their people have done any wrong. They can't do it because they don't know how to live with themselves. If they ever get to that point where they have to look at the people and say, yo, we're wrong, they won't know what to do. They won't know what to do. So you see it all the time, man. But I wanted to highlight that. The reason my man don't have a job, the things that he's kneeling for, is happening to y'all too. Like I said, I'm not friends with this Lauren girl, just a girl I went to high school with. But it was crazy and very unfortunate to see her on a video getting brutalized by police. And literally her charges were that she got busted for smoking weed in public. Like, and I'm sure that most cops are probably real chill and probably would have just let the shit go. But maybe she was popping off and they got frustrated. Shit happens. But be cautious next time you decide to look at somebody and be like, hey, just comply. It really is not that simple, because some of these cops are really just, it's the person that you run into who's having troubles at home, bad marriage, or kids are doing bad, or maybe they're single, they're lonely, they're stressed, they're depressed, they're upset. They are still humans. They still experience these emotions. But the problem is they do a very dangerous job. They use very dangerous tools to do their job. And sometimes they get involved in situations where they use their resources improperly. And it's because mentally and emotionally, they are not cut out to show up and do their job that day. But do you think anyone's going to tell them that? Most of these cops that end up in these situations are men too. Men already have a hard time opening up about feelings and being vulnerable. Some of these guys won't know how to live if they end up having to admit or show any type of weakness. Men view that as weakness. Like, bro, some of y'all, it's okay. Just admit that you're having some struggles. Do that shit before you fuck around and end up taking somebody's life over nothing. And then after that, there's always zero accountability. That's the funniest part about it. Zero accountability after these situations happen. I just hope that before I die, I get to finally see where the other half of the white people, and I'm talking about the half that act like they don't give a shit and actually try to treat a lot of these situations as non-issues. I hope that I'm alive to see the day where they come out and they go, you know what? I'm sorry because I had this shit wrong. That's the first step. The second y'all admit that you understand that you're wrong and you allow yourself to be brought up to speed on how we should conduct ourselves, and you actually start to model that behavior, then you can start to feel better. You can let your hair down. You can ease those burdens off of your shoulders. No one will ever forget the trauma that your people have put our people through, and other people. We're not ever gonna just forget all of these things. But I think as the generations go, you can learn how to forgive. You teach your kids to forgive. That way they don't learn how to hate. And that way you don't have the cycle continue over and fucking over again. Shit is crazy. But anyways, it was a wild day hearing about the Kaepernick thing. And then also having one of my good friends, Brittany, shout out to you for sending me that video of Lauren getting washed up by cops. I'm not laughing at her. I've also made it very clear that I myself have been brutalized by police on 2 separate occasions. And I've been harassed by the cops on about 10 to 15 different occasions. So I'm not laughing at her or her struggles. I'm laughing at the fact that this happens to a lot of people, and we still have people who think that it's not an issue. So there are some loudmouth MFs that maybe have the shit coming, but people in general don't deserve to just be jacked up by cops, man. It's just, we got to get some of these people off the streets. I know police forces are in desperate need of officers, and they need people to go out and monitor the streets because our world is just getting so overly populated. You don't have enough people to kind of police everybody. So I know that they are desperate for people. But damn, y'all got to get some, stricter rules, guidelines, make your testing a little bit tougher. Like we got to do some deeper vetting of some of these people, because a lot of the people you employ are not cut out to do this job, because the first part of the job is serve and protect. You can't do either of those if mentally and emotionally you're not stable enough to put your emotions to the side, your baggage, leave that shit at home, and show up and do your job adequately every single day. Now, we all struggle with it. I'm probably the last person who should be saying that, because I always, not lately. Lately, I've been real good, but that's because my job is amazing. I'm not going to say that it's easy, because it's not easy, but it works out with my schedule really good. The people are great. My mind is at ease, zero trouble. But to say that I've never had trouble in the past would be a big fat lie. So I've struggled not leaving my baggage and my emotions at the door before I walk in, and it has impacted my work. And the cause of that was me, in some cases, it probably led to me being laid off, let go, whatever the case may be. But like, with cops, I get it. High demand, short supply, but we can't pretend like they're above these types of consequences. If it can happen to me, it should happen to the people who murder people. And it shouldn't take 5 years. It should not take 5 years for somebody to lose their job when they murder somebody on tape. That is pathetic. So, we're going to take a short break. Thank you for listening to me rant. We already almost breezed through the first hour just talking about 3 things or 2 things. I don't know how many things we talked about. But in the second hour, we're going to have some info on a good friend of mine, Jason Hicks. Him and his homies, they have a magazine called Green Tea. So for all you millennials that are looking for ways to be clued in on all the hottest games and nightlife, and if you're looking for, to be an ambassador and join on with their crew, I'm going to give you some information so you can go do that. I think when the YouTube upload is available and ready, when you hear the interview, I think you'll feel a little bit inspired. Like I said, Jason is a good friend of mine. He is a guy that I do, I get those inspirational vibes when I'm around him, because he is always talking about doing the next thing, and he really is like on his grind and he's out there getting it. So shout out to him, shout out to his team. We're gonna get into that. We still are gonna talk about this Byron Allen versus the world situation, and then jump into supporting your friends the same way you support celebrities. So let's jump into the music. We got some August Alsina about to play, and then maybe some old school Lloyd. And then we'll be right back, man. You're tuned into the Michael Jackson Show on Track Talk Radio. Thanks for tuning in, little Dusties. Hey! Get money. People are texting me already. What is this? I don't know what people are texting me. But either way, listen, man, I know I was ranting and raving. I'm sure people are going to be like, what is this nigga talking about? But I feel like some of this stuff needs to be said, man. Especially, you know what, Lauren, I'm sorry that shit happened to you, but there's a part of me that's glad that it happened to you or someone from the town that we lived in, because 97% of the people in that town have their heads up their asses. They all think that they can do no wrong and that the rules don't apply to them, and they can do whatever they want. And I hope that in the last couple of years, they've seen this video and they've really started to change their view on this shit. And stop acting so entitled and stop acting like they can't be touched. Because when y'all leave your little bubble of Gulf Breeze, Florida, you see how real it gets. This same stuff that was happening to me in that little bullshit ass town, it can happen to you white folks too. It's no shade, but I'm telling you, I hope that you used her experience as a learning experience for yourself. Y'all gotta stop acting like you are above all of these things and actually start to understand that we're not just saying that it only happens to black people. It happens to everybody. Police brutality is wrong and it has to stop. I truly feel like cops will be better served, and you can get a lot more done when you use compassion, caring, understanding, and you communicate well. All you got to do is talk to people. Now, yes, there are scumbaggy people. There are people who deserve to be roughed up a little bit because maybe they pull a gun out or they got a weapon. I get all that stuff. But bro, y'all already had her in the jail in the video. You restrained her, you put her in a chair, you use a taser on her while she's strapped to a chair. What can she do to you when she's strapped to a chair with a bag over her face? What is she doing in those moments that you're like, oh fuck, she needs the damn taser. Bow, bow, bow. And then you start shocking her. That's unnecessary. And that is where, if this is the disconnect between civilians and police, instead of it closing, all you're doing is extending it every time. You extend it way more than what it needs to be. You make the relations between what the idea of cops are and the civilian population, you make those relationships hard. Because we want to believe that you have our best interests at heart and that you are there to protect and serve us. But if you treat us like shit, we are more likely to believe that you do not have our best interests at heart. I feel like that can be said about any relationship with any person, no matter what their role in life. So we got to do better, man. And like I said, I hope these white folks understand that, yo, if it can happen to me, it can definitely happen to your ass. So don't hit me with the whole just comply and just don't say anything and it'll be all good. Nah, it's not all good, fam. She literally was restrained to the chair and still got tased. So you see how it happens to us. All she got was the taser and restrained to the chair. We don't even make it back to the damn precinct. They just kill us on the street. So I say it very often. I feel like a lot of cops, especially white cops, they view minorities as less than damn animals. So to them, it ain't nothing to kill a nigga and leave him there on the street bleeding and let EMS come. It ain't nothing for a cop to be chasing a dude down and shoot him in the back. He don't feel bad about that, because in those moments he don't care. He just views that person as an animal. He don't view them as a fellow man. Some people run because they get scared. They panic, fight or flight. Not everybody want to stand there. They don't know what's about to happen. Maybe it's a mistake for running, but shit, can you blame a person for being scared, not knowing what's going to happen? And then shit doesn't matter because they end up getting murdered anyway. This shit is a big deal, man. Very big deal. It's crazy. But anyway, let me cue up the Byron Allen article, because he won. I guess there's multiple parts of this court case, but it says Byron Allen wins 2 big federal court victories against Comcast and Charter Communications. And so I'm going to get into the show after this lawyer record plays, and then we're going to discuss this. I don't want to do it now and have to do it again, but man, this is crazy, because pretty much he's suing Comcast. He's suing Comcast for $20 billion and another $10 billion against the Charter for violating the Civil Rights Act of 1866. What is it? 42 USC S81. I don't know. Basically, this is the this act prohibits racial discrimination in contracting. So that's what it is. But I think overall, you're going to see that this is going to impact a lot of different things. So this is going to be pretty crazy. But shout out to him, man, getting victories in court. That's not easy to come by, especially if, you know, God, I feel like we're all, like, this is a show where I'm all pro black people, and it sounds like I'm not pro anybody else. No, I love everybody. But a lot of these stories pop up because, you know where I get a lot of this stuff from? I see it. My white friends and counterparts, they post these things, and they're super hyped about it. And then this is where I find it. And then obviously my black friends, they post it too. But a lot of this stuff comes from other white people, because they really want to see us win. So I'm celebrating y'all for posting this stuff, so that way I have the opportunity to talk about it on the show. I think it's awesome. So it sounds like we're just talking about black people versus white people, but that's not the deal. This is just a very significant time in America, in the entertainment industry, and with Tyler Perry starting his own studio, and then this situation happening, this is going to be epic. And I don't use that word very often. So, epic. We're going to talk about that. And I'm going to riff on that for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to dive into some other stuff. Let's get it. Hey, welcome back. Your boy is back. This is the Meanquil Jackson Show. I just cut that Lloyd shit off just because you've heard that Southside record 10,000 times. It's still hot though. Lloyd and Ashanti, Southside. Lloyd, that was a classic record, my man. But let's get into this Byron Allen versus the world. And I keep saying the world, but because thinking about suing anybody and major corporations for billions of dollars, that to me is like him versus the world. So it's literally him versus Comcast, and then he's also suing Charter Communications. Now, these are the 2 victories that he won today. So his lawsuits against them, I guess they went through. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's like appeals and all this type of stuff, but he's suing Comcast for $20 billion and suing Charter Communications for another $10 billion. $30 billion. There's a B in front of that. Now, basically what happened is Byron Allen, he has a studio, so it's Entertainment Studios, and then what he is doing, and there's also another plaintiff, which is the National Association of African American Owned Media, and so they are plaintiffs in a federal lawsuit filed against Comcast and Charter Communications. And it looks like they got 2 victories today. I guess this was by the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. So the lawsuits that were filed against the 2 companies are for violating the Civil Rights Act of 1866. And then what it is it's an act that prohibits racial discrimination in contracting. So for some people that might be a little bit confusing, and some of it is a little bit boring, but I guess what happened is that he has shows and movies and content that he wants to put on these networks. He wanted Comcast and Charter to distribute these things. And I guess some of these shows are distributed by Comcast and Charter's direct competitors, which are like Verizon, DirecTV, AT&T, and Dish, and many other carriers. And so it's not that he doesn't have people to play the content, but, you know, Comcast and Charter Communications are very big networks. But from what I had read before, I guess it sounded like what they did was that they're not taking his content, but then they're putting other like shows that are less black and all that type of stuff. They're putting those shows on their network. And so basically he's saying that they discriminated against them. That's what I gathered from it. I could be completely off base. I'm trying to find something that kind of gives you background on it. Because even at one point, I think in the lawsuit, he had named the NAACP in that. And I guess he had said that he felt like they had provided money to Comcast and Charter. And he viewed it as that they were providing money in an effort to kind of like make sure that his projects didn't get picked up. And then what happened is they worked it out. They got taken off of the lawsuit, and then they're now helping him continue to pursue the lawsuit, which is a crazy thing in and out of itself. But let's see. So the decisions are hugely important in terms of opening the courts to African-American owned media. The court paved the way to our eventual success at trial by ensuring that the proper mixed motive standard for our claims, a lower standard of proof than the but-for standard argued by Comcast and Charter, applies. I guess the court dismissed Charter and Comcast's attempt to use the First Amendment as a shield for their alleged discrimination. Man, this is pretty crazy. So Byron is the chairman and CEO of Entertainment Studios, founded in 1993. He's got offices in LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Denver, and Raleigh, North Carolina. That's pretty interesting. He owns 8 24-hour HD television networks serving nearly 160 million subscribers. Holy shit. Weather Channel, Pets TV, Comedy.tv, Recipe.tv, Cars.tv. Like, these are just some of the things. Like, they also produce and distribute and sell advertising for 41 television programs. Like, this is one of the largest independent producers and distributors of first-run syndicated television programming. Like, this is crazy. They have over 5,000 hours of owned content across multiple genres. Like, thinking about how big this is, like, I don't think most people, when they probably see the article, they probably don't even look at it or read it or share, because they're probably just thinking, oh, it's just some black guy suing some major company because he didn't get his way. This is a big deal when you take into account the amount of content, the amount of, people involved and invested. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, Entertainment Studios Motion Pictures is a full-service theatrical motion picture distribution company specializing in wide-release commercial content. They said they released the shark thriller movie 47 Meters Down, which grossed over 44 million. What? I didn't see that. That movie couldn't have been good. Shit. Let's see. None of this stuff is really jumping out at me, but either way, I think this is a major win It's a major win currently. Hopefully they win all the way through, because this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. But I think at some point it'll just mean when they negotiate contracts for content that is, created, owned, and operated by mostly minorities to some degree, that when they run those contracts and negotiate those deals, these major corporations won't try to finesse and play people out, because it sounds like that's what they did. So shout out to Byron Allen, man. He's doing work. Now, if any of the stuff I said it seems off and it's a bit incorrect, please reach out to me if you have other info on this. I want to make sure that I'm representing my man right, but just based on what I read and what I had gathered from the situation, like, that's where my thoughts and opinions come from. So I've enjoyed following this little case. That's not, I say it's little. It's not a little case by any means. But I've enjoyed following because, like, again, it's good to see that people are really taking a stand and trying to fight for people, because a lot of this comes down to, like, if you don't ask people the right questions and you don't call them on their bullshit, they'll continue to try to find ways to get over on you. That's just the nature of people. And this is a situation where this man is tired of being finessed. He's worked his ass off. He started that company in 1993. I mean, I read the stats off to you. My man is killing it. Killing it. So yeah, he's trying to sue Comcast. Give me that $20 billion. Charter, run that $10 billion, so I can take that $30 billion and I can really put people on. Because there are a lot of talented people in our nation and in our world who are not getting the same opportunities that the white folks get because they're black and they're on lower networks. And some of the content is really good. And that's why you're seeing people leave cable and they're going to, like, streaming services, Netflix, YouTube TV, Hulu TV, because you get to see some of this content on these services, because this is where it's going now. So, like, if you're a major cable company like Comcast, like, bro, you probably just played yourself. That will probably be non-existent if all of this goes through, because I can't imagine a scenario where they stay in business already knowing that people are trying to leave them because they don't provide what people are wanting to see. People want to see more diverse shows. They want to see good, new, fresh actors. We don't want to see the same crap. Now, that's coming from a guy who literally watches the same 3 shows over and over again. But when I am in a space where I'm checking out new content, I like to see the type of shows that Byron is putting on his network and those movies. Now, I'm not watching the Shark movie. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I know they made about $44 million, but I can only imagine with the cost of CGI and computers and all that to make the sharks look real, you probably spent way more than $44 million. You probably lost money on that, and it's okay if y'all don't want to admit that. And if I'm bullshitting and that's wrong and somebody has figures on that, please send them to me, because if they actually netted money on that, I want to know, because I think shark movies are terrible. I'm not a shark fan. I do not care about sharks. You won't ever see me past about 50 feet in the water, in the ocean, because it's just, I'm not a fan of that. Now, I did go paddle boarding in Hawaii. That was a scary experience. I'm pretty sure there were sharks swimming around me. I was kind of scared for my life, but hey, I conquered my fears and I went out there and I did that shit. I only stood up on the paddleboard once. I completely flipped off of that shit, and people on the shore were looking, pointing, and laughing. We all had a good time with it. It was awesome. Shout out to Hawaii. One of the best little vacations I've ever been on. Well, not really a vacation. That's when my brother got married. Shout out to him for allowing me to have a reason, an excuse to go to Hawaii. That shit was lit. But either way, I'm not a fan of sharks. So, shout out to Byron. Hope he wins that case. Man, that's going to be crazy. Now let's get into this, man. Because in the same breath, I'm saying that I want to have a discussion around why we don't support our friends the same way we support celebrities. Byron is a celebrity, and I'm hyping him up like he's the greatest guy in the world. I don't even know Buddy. I just see him doing good things. Same thing with Tyler Perry. Same thing with a lot of people that I shout out. Now, I do have some really dope friends who are doing really great things. I think this shit is awesome. And if they have new stuff that they're working on or things that they want me to promote on the show, reach out to me. If you are my friend and you and I, when we know what it is, you can send me your stuff. No questions asked. You will always get free promo. Always. Because why not? Why would I charge you to promo your stuff? I want to see you do well. I want to see you win. Even if you just want to get on here and be like, yo, just shout me out for getting a promotion. Let me know. If I know you got that, you'll get that shout out because I want to prop you up. The same way we give all these likes to all these different celebrities, people that we do not know, people who have no desire to even talk to us because we're one of 10 million people liking a photo. We're one of 80,000 to 90,000 comments. Like, they're not going to talk to you. But we still go on there. We like, we comment, we subscribe, we follow, we watch. We do all these things. We imagine and we wish that we were living the same life that they were. But then you have friends who are really doing everything they can to pursue their dreams, live up to their own hope, and exceed their own expectations. And you won't even like or comment on their shit or acknowledge them. Or if you do, it's a backhanded compliment. Like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but it's not as cool as this. Or you're not going to be this. You're not going to be that. Why do we do that to our own people? Why not celebrate your people? Shit. I had a couple friends lately. Shout out to my friend Steph. She just bought a home. That's dope as fuck. Excuse my language. Shout out to you, girl. You bought a home. And I've known you for years. I know how hard you've been working. Doing the single mom thing, managing a household and a family, taking care of other people, and still figured out a way to buy a home. That's lit. I have friends who finally have left their jobs to pursue other opportunities in the career field that they really love and they want to be a part of. Yo, shout out to y'all. That's dope. You're chasing your dreams. You're doing what you want to do that's going to make you happy and leave you fulfilled at the end of the day, which that's most important. That's a part of your self-care. It's going to be hard work, but you might as well do it. Shit, I've never felt better since I finally started doing this shit. And this is not the first time I've tried to do some form of entertainment. This is like the 5th time. But this is the one thing that I've always wanted to be on the radio. Since I was a little kid, back in Florida, listening to 93 BLX, Nick at Night, bring that back. That was the guy that was on the radio. And not only was I lit when I was a little kid listening to that, because he and I have the same name, but I thought it was dope. Every time I would listen, I had my radio on all the time. I was always listening to it. Always just wishing, man, it'd be cool to just be on the radio. It'd be cool just to talk to people and say funny things and then run your music. Now, I know it's a little bit different for them because they're, they got to play the specific music. I play whatever I want to play, But yeah, this is a dream. So why wouldn't I want to, shout that out for myself, be proud of that fact that I'm doing that, rather than just doing what's needed to be done in order to survive and exist here. That make this shit boring. This shit already sucks. I'm not going to pretend like life is just awesome and a piece of cake. Life kind of sucks. So you have to find ways to make the most of it. You guys have friends who want to try to turn their hobbies into careers. We're in a time where that is a possibility. You see people all the time. We got kids that are winning $3 and $4 million on national television for playing Fortnite. You really gonna give your friend a hard time? Your friend who's chasing that acting dream? Your friend I got a friend who's a comedian. Shout out to my man Leon Walker. He's been doing comedy and stand-up and videos, and he's got a podcast. He's been doing that shit forever. That Yoga Leroy sweatshirt that I have, that's him. Shout out to my man. He's killing it. He created that character. And you know what he did? He actually went out, got a yoga certification, went through all the classes, did all the training. He does it all. And now he's getting yoga teaching jobs. And he gets to be in his character. So he gets to pursue multiple avenues of things that he loves. He loves to do comedy. He loves to entertain. He loves to make people laugh. And he's getting to teach yoga. Ain't nothing better than that. Doing all this while raising a family. Why wouldn't we celebrate people who are doing those things? These are people that we know. These are people that we stand by every day. Why wouldn't we want to shout these people out? Shit is crazy, man. But we got to start to celebrate and support our friends the same way we support celebrities. I think that is important. If you have friends who say that they struggle with their mental health, some of those struggles come from not feeling valued and supported. You have to understand that that is a real thing. What better way to help somebody through that than by supporting them? That's the best thing that you can do. And it don't take much. It don't take much to be nice. It don't take much to give a few compliments. Shit. Some of these people are really going through it. And you know what they're needing? They're just needing a little bit of a spark to keep them going. I think it's dope seeing all of you guys doing what you love and killing it. And for those of you who aren't, maybe you're in a situation where you're feeling like you're kind of stuck and you're just doing what you have to do and you're going through the motions. It's okay. It's okay. Come up with a plan. You'll get to where you need to be in the time that it needs to take. That's not a saying. I just said that. I'm trying not to sound like a complete idiot, but also trying to give you some gems. I'm literally telling you things that you already know. You'll get to exactly where you need to be in due time. You got to work hard. And you got to not stress and care about how you're going to look to other people. Not everything is going to be perfect. Shit, this is my 10th show, I think. We're already at the 10th one. And the first 3 were, they were awful. I mean, if I'm just being completely honest, they just weren't good. Content might have been good, but audio, video was terrible. Like, I really was upset about that. But there was a part of me that was like, well, you know, we just got to improve, and it's okay. Because you can look at a lot of people's body of work in the early years. Their stuff wasn't good. Man, I had a whole TV show. I have it on YouTube, and it was not good. It was terrible. I watch it every now and again. I just be laughing. Like, look at this young guy. Just trying to be funny. Just trying to be, be the person who sparks the party and gets people laughing and gets their energy going. It takes time. You got to evolve. You got to grow. And so some of your friends, when they're starting out to do things, yeah, some of their shit is whack. But then in 5 years, when they, hone their skills and they start to, make everything, damn near close to perfect, that's when they're going to be able to celebrate. And you don't want to be the person who's hating for 5 years and then all of a sudden trying to celebrate with them when they start winning. Celebrate with them now. Keep them motivated. Keep them in good spirits so that way they continue to pursue it. We talk about we don't want movies remade, but we're discouraging new actors and new directors and new visions. So if we want different original content, we need to inspire people rather than continue to tell people that they're trash. Now, some of you have enough bodies of work to be like, look, this just ain't for you. And that's okay. Not everybody needs to do everything. Not all of you need to have a mixtape. Not all of you need to do stand-up. Not all of you need to be politicians. Not all of you have to do all of these things. It's okay to leave some of this shit for other people and just enjoy it. Just be the fan. You don't have to always be a participant. But there are people around you who are really talented and really can get shit done. Prop them up. Celebrate them. That shit is important. Holy smokes, we're almost through the first hour and a half. Y'all, I saw something funny last night when I was watching the ESPN highlights, back to the little sports. But it's interesting because the head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers is Doc Rivers. And his son has been in the NBA for a long time. Actually used to play for the Clippers, but now he plays for the Rockets. So during the game last night, and they have video of this, which I thought it was pretty funny, and it's going to be a little thing between family, obviously, and a funny story they get to tell during the holidays. But Austin, playing for Houston, is watching his dad get in an argument with the referees. His dad is literally the coach of the other team, and Austin is literally giving the signal to the referees and the crowd for the refs to tee up his dad, which is a technical foul. If you know anything about basketball, after you receive 2 technicals, you are ejected from the game. And so my man is literally flexing on his dad during the middle of the game. So his dad gets the first tech, then gets the second one, and Austin gives him the little wave like, yo, get out of here. And then he hits him with the, yo, call me after the game, which I thought was just hilarious. I'm sure that obviously he's probably just playing. He's not really trying to play his dad out on national TV, but it's just funny to see a father-son combo. They're both on the court, and, you know, son's getting the last laugh because his team won the game. He watched dad get ejected. Just something that will be talked about during the holidays, because that is fastly approaching. Now, Thanksgiving is in a couple of weeks. Listen, if you're planning to invite me over, I'll be glad to come. Maybe. If you don't have green bean casserole, fam, don't invite me. And for those of you who think that is nasty, I want you just to punch yourself in the head. Green bean casserole is lit, man. That's probably one of the few things that I'm like literally checking for when I go eat at people's houses at Thanksgiving. Now, if you mess up the green bean casserole and the mashed potatoes, you're fired. You're all the way fired. And for those of you who say cranberry sauce is nasty, you're tripping. That is lit. So, Thanksgiving's coming up. I'm expecting a few plates. Y'all hit me up, man. I'm willing to trade comedy and entertainment for your families for a plate. I feel like that's a very small feel. That's like getting me on clearance, all right? All I'm asking for is a plate. I'm not actually charging you real money. Now, if I get to your house and that place is dusty as hell, it's not clean, if you got roaches and stuff, I'll still probably stay for the food, because I bet the food is probably good, but I might charge you like $50, you know, because if a roach jump on me, I'm going to be hot, bro. So, we're going to take a small break. Hit me up, man, if you're planning to have extra plates at Thanksgiving, because I'm trying to eat. And one last little sports comment. If anybody has been watching Lakers basketball, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he needs to be off the team. My man literally is on Shaqtin' a Fool every single week for doing bonehead stuff during the games. I don't understand why we let Lance Stevenson go, but we kept KCP. Now, we kept him because he's supposedly a shooter and he can defend at the two-guard position, but my man literally is out here airballing layups. I don't want to give him too much time, but I just feel like he should be off the team. KCP, you're not getting it done, bro. Get out of here. Anyways, we're about to take a break, man. Let's let this music run, and then we're going to come back after the break, and then we are going to close out the show. Man, oh man. Hour and a half through. This is crazy, man. We get this shit done pretty quickly, which I like that. Let's see, what do we got? We got a couple more things that we're going to discuss. I am going to roast some people. God, I still can't believe that a girl I went to high school with is literally on a viral video getting washed up by cops. That shit is wild. Oh yeah. We got a few things. It's about to be lit. Got a few little one-off topics that we're gonna talk about, and then the last few minutes I'm gonna give shine to my man Jason Hicks and the Green Tea magazine, and then we're gonna close out the show, and then y'all will be able to check out the audio interview that I did with Jason the other day. Like I said, it's about 15 minutes long. It's nice and short, but it's pretty cool, man. He tells a story about Tupac's mom, because you know he was connected with her at one point in time before her passing. R.I.P. I feel like most of the people around the world acknowledge her as an amazing woman, because you think about what she gave us, you know, and the things that she did in her early days as a Black Panther. So rest in peace. Shout out to Pac's mom, Afeni Shakur. You were gone but not forgotten, that's for sure. And I was super hyped up when he brought up her name, because it came off of one of my questions that I asked him. And so you'll hear it all in the interview. I think it's pretty dope. So definitely take a listen. Again, shout out to Jason, man. Cool dude. He's out here in the Bellevue, Seattle area. If you're ever out in Washington and you're at the, where is he at? Lucky Strike in Bellevue. Jay's over there doing nightlife stuff. Man, he's a part of a tap dance crew, which that's in the interview too. He talks about that. My man's hooping at all the local gyms. He's very well connected with a lot of athletes and things like that. And then he has this amazing magazine with him and his two friends. And they're rocking it, man. So Jay's doing big things. Shout out to him. Let's see, man. What else we got? This has been a long week. It's actually been a short week because obviously we didn't work. Well, I didn't work Monday. But it's been a long 4 days. A lot of changes. We're going to start improve. Like I said, we're trying to improve quality of the show week to week. And so I think it was pretty cool to get an interview on the books, and then we're going to have video of that. Or audio of that. But yeah, man, it's an exciting time to be in my shoes. I'm loving it, like McDonald's style. All right. Man, yeah, it's just me in here tonight, too. I forgot about that. I haven't had any guest appearances in a little bit, even though nobody's actually been on camera. But sometimes we have people in here talking to me. But last few shows, it's just been me. Still been lit, though. But right now, we're just kicking back, watching Cleveland Browns, man. They're about to be on a 2-game win streak because I think there's only about 4 minutes left in this football game. But I think this shit's about over. Browns versus Steelers. The Steelers are not very good. I mean, you're losing to Cleveland, who's not good. This is a bad game. I don't know why this was on for so long. But we got some Nets versus Nuggets. Let's get it. Appreciate you guys staying tuned in, man. Be sure to, somewhere down there, like and subscribe. Share with all your friends, man. We're trying to get more people to follow the show, get more people to tune in. We're going to start adding more interviews, having video of interviews. We're going to hopefully get some clearance to start playing some music on the recordings. I got to make a lot of phone calls for that. So I'm just trying to find time to do that. Don't worry about me grabbing my junk on the camera. It is what it is, man. I got to get comfortable. So, you gotta shake the stuff and move the stuff. I mean, it's a part of it. But yeah, we're looking at week-to-week improvements for the show. So far, things are pretty good. Boss Lady's happy. I think the consumers are happy. We've gotten some feedback. I think my favorite part is the hate. And sometimes it's not always hate, but I've had some people try to go at me over some things that I've said on the show. And I like that because if they're not doing that, then that means they're not tuning in. Because the idea is that we want to provoke thought and get people in their feelings and get them to actually say how they feel about things. Now, some of the stuff that y'all try to crucify me for and go at me for is a little bit corny. Like my choice and my preference in chicken sandwiches, that's weak. But at the same time, even in that interaction, I appreciated, the talk that I had with the young lady, just because I feel like some of the feedback that she provided me on, some of the things that I had talked about, I think that was important because a lot of it was just stuff that I didn't know. Not that it really impacted my decision either way going forward. I'm still going to do what I got to do and what I want to do, but it was nice to be educated to some degree on some of the things that, some of the corporations that we spend our money at, the things that they're involved in. And all that is it's just sharing information. So it's stuff that I wouldn't normally see up by myself in some cases. So it was nice that I was given those things. I mean, I wish the initial interaction would have been a bit different because sometimes I get confused when people try to go at me over things that are just so minor and non-impactful on that other person's life. But it's how they feel and they want to be able to discuss it and talk about it. So I get it, man. I'm not mad at that. All right. Let's jump back into it. Here we go. Get Money, Mariah, and Young Jeezy. Cut that shit off, man. DJ, what's next? Nothing at the moment, man. We're just back into the show. So we're not going to play any more music for a little bit because I want to have a quick moment of silence. And this moment of silence is for 50 Cent's Instagram account. Apparently it has been deactivated. So if you don't mind just being silent for a second. Okay. I feel like that was necessary because 50 Cent's IG is probably the funniest thing on the internet. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's one of the few reasons why obviously outside of memes, it's one of the few reasons why I still keep an Instagram account is to just watch 50 just kill people and just, be 50. Like, who doesn't love a good 50 Cent Instagram post? Now, it is unclear whether or not he deactivated it or if it was deactivated by Instagram and Facebook, whoever owns these people. It seems like they're all connected, so I'm assuming they're under the same ownership. But this is pretty, like I said, I posted this morning. I was kind of devastated because, I'm wondering, man, it's been a couple of days. I ain't seen him posting anything. Last we saw was him commenting on Snoop Dogg's post when Snoop posted about Kanye West's new little kicks and all that type of stuff, and all of them shits are ugly as hell. And then 50 just kind of vanished. So I think he's being active on Twitter, but I don't know. That Twitter shit's boring. I need to see the videos and the pictures, all this stuff, and then hear his commentary, his hashtags, all that shit. Stupid funny. So shout out to 50 Cent, man. Hopefully his IG comes back quickly. I can't imagine that he took this down by himself. I feel like 50 lives for IG. He lives to crush people on IG. And 50's not scared of anybody or anything. So somebody had to have done this to him for some strange reason. Or maybe someone's using his IG to try to finesse him out of big money. And maybe he's just taking a cool off little break for a minute while he get the money handled. I don't know. 50, if you're listening, we need the IG account back, bro. We need something, man. Twitter's kind of lame. So, yeah, man, I had to have a quick moment of silence for that. That was a big deal to me. Now, something that is not a big deal and that I only care about because I want to roast her a little bit. And I thought this was funny when this popped up. So, some of you know, I think at this point, this is probably like a year, maybe 2 years ago when this happened. Monique, who's an actress and she's a comedian. She's had a lot of famous roles and content that dates back to like the early 2000s. I remember she was on a show. Wasn't she the mom of some show, like I don't know. It was like a Moesha spinoff, I think. I think she was like the mom to like Moesha's friend, maybe. I don't know. Monique was really popular back in the day. And we're saying back in the day because it's 2019 and her prime, at least in my own memory, is the early 2000s. So it's been a minute. Monique has been battling, what seems like she's been battling Netflix for hella long because originally I think her and her husband, they do business together and they kind of run their ship, and that's, good for them. That's awesome. But I guess she had offered to sell Netflix her special, and Netflix offered a very small bag. And when we say small, if I'm remembering correctly, because this has been some time now, I think it was like a number that was like very low, like almost like, yo, are you kidding me? Like, this is all you're offering? This super low ass number? Monique was not happy. In this amount of time, she's watched other people get specials, and I think she feels like she's way funnier than them, and she feels like she's being held back. So I think in Monique's mind, she thinks she is the Colin Kaepernick of her situation. And that is why she is suing Netflix for race and gender discrimination. So the lawsuit claims Monique was given a low ball offer that was only a fraction of what Netflix paid other comedians. So even though this situation is kind of old, I actually got this one right, because I remember me and all my friends on the internet, we roasted the shit out of her. Multiple platforms that people host shows on roasted the shit out of her, mainly other comedians, because one of the things that's wrong with everything that she's doing is that she's under the assumption that she's still like hysterically funny to the point that people want to pay big dollars to see her. Monique, you're not Kevin Hart. You're not Bill Burr. You're not Hannibal Buress. You're none of these people. Brian Callum had a special recently. I think Sam Morril's had a special. Like, Joe Coy has specials on that. Like, these are all people who are making specials, and they're being bought by people who own large platforms, and they're putting them out. Monique really, truly, in her mind, I think is great, because you should be confident. You should trust your abilities, and you should be like, yo, I'm the best at what I do. Yes. But one of the issues is that you're kind of saying that you're the best at what you do, but it is very clear based on how Netflix treated you that they do not think that you're even the top 50 at what you do. Because I think if you were top 50, you would get the money that everybody else is getting. All right, shit. We are back. We had a small hiccup with the camera. I don't know what happened. I think because we've been recording so many videos, the storage ran out on the phone. You know, these phones they only have so many gigs, and these videos are 2 hours long. So I had a feeling this was going to happen. I wish I would have deleted some videos earlier this afternoon, but either way, we'll match this video with the last one, but we're going to finish out the show. I just put them on another music break, and then we're actually going to close out with the Green Tea magazine and my man Jason Hicks. So I'm continuing to shout him out because, you know, that is really what the highlight of our show is today. There were so many other things, but the main thing was to highlight this and then get you guys to go listen to the other interview after you watch this video. So before the other video cut out, we're talking about Monique. She's an Oscar-winning actress / comedian. You might have known her from a lot of her early work in the early 2000s, and I was basically highlighting the fact that she is suing Netflix for gender and age, or gender, race. I don't think it was age. That probably is on there. But gender and race discrimination. Monique feels like she's been wronged because other comedians were offered specials that were worth tens of millions of dollars, and she received a lowball offer. Now, what I was saying on the air is that, honestly, Monique, you're just not that talented anymore in comparison to the people that are out now, and they are the people that the consumers want to see. So in comparison, you are viewed as not being as good as everybody else. So if we do this in sports, where at a certain point people retire because their skills are not measuring up to the type of product that is being put out every time an event happens, you have to fall in line, pay your dues, and you got to go away. It's okay. It doesn't mean you are any less, because you are not any less than what you once were. You will always be great. You'll always have that Oscar. You did a great job in Precious. You played a role that probably could not have been played as well by anybody else. That's why you got the Oscar. But in regards to comedy, your stand-up special, people just aren't checking for you. Now, I know you were upset with Charlemagne back in the day because you feel like people who have a voice and have the opportunity to be in front of the microphone kind of played you out, and you were expecting better from your brothers and sisters. I'm sure you would look at me as a young brother and you would probably say, well, how dare he disrespect a sister, and let alone one of his elders. And I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm letting you know that myself, as somebody who is viewed as a consumer to some degree with certain products, I know when it comes to comedy, you are not somebody that I'm checking for. And I think that has to be okay. You will be okay if Netflix doesn't offer you tens of millions of dollars. I know you want that money. Who doesn't want that bag? Shit. If Netflix starts a radio channel, I want 50 billion because I think I'm worth it. But there are a lot of people who are going to look at my view count and they're going to look at how many followers I have and they're going to say, fam, you're not worth more than about 10 grilled cheese sandwiches on a paper plate. And I'm going to have to look at them and be like, well, shit, that's harsh, but it is what it is because I'm just not at that point yet. Or people are under the assumption I won't ever be at that point. And you kind of just get what you get. But she is not happy about that type of stuff. So we just talked about how she's suing them, and I wished her the best of luck. I hope something good can come of this for her. But I think in the long run, her suit is going to be laughed out of the courtroom, and people are probably going to just tell her that she's going to have to suck it up and deal with it. I don't think you should be able to sue because Netflix decided that they didn't like what you were selling. It is what it is, man. It happens to people. Anyway, let's get back into this. Get money. Okay, let me just go ahead. I wanted to stop this because I was talking so much earlier in the show that I didn't realize we burned up a lot of our time, and I want to make sure that I have time to talk about one other thing real quick, just about our Seattle police force. Excuse me, and then I'm going to highlight my man Jason and then showcase his magazine, which is going to be super dope. So, Seattle police captain arrested for sexual exploitation during undercover operation. My man is a 31-year veteran. He's been placed on administrative leave. This is crazy. A Seattle police captain was arrested Wednesday night on suspicion of sexual exploitation. 53-year-old Randall Woolery. 31 years, Randall. What are you thinking, bro? You've had your job for that long, and you got a family, bro. I bet you have a family. You look like the type of guy who probably just has a family as a cover so you can do crazy shit like this. He was assigned to the Professional Standards Bureau. He also serves on the Snohomish County Fire District 7 Board of Commissioners, according to a spokesperson for the district. I guess they declined to speak about Woolery's arrest and said no board actions were taken. I guess based on that part, you can guess what he is. But he said he was arrested during an undercover vice operation in North Seattle. Vice squads deal with the enforcement of laws concerning gambling, prostitution, pornography, and illegal use of liquor and narcotics. Woolery has not been charged, but he has been notified by the court that charges are pending. This is a police captain, y'all. This shit is crazy. Anyway, that was like the last little gem that I wanted to bring up because I saw this right before the show started and it just kind of blew my mind because I'm like, fam, you're literally supposed to catch the bad guys. And instead they caught you in a sexual exploitation op. An undercover op. That's crazy. Anyway, so as we close out the show, I did want to get to my homies. I'm going to say they're my homies. I haven't met the other two gentlemen, but I'm sure at some point I will meet Noah and Joseph because Jay's good people. He's always around good people. We're all good people. It is what it is, man. Cool people kicking with cool people. But if you can see this, light is a little bit bright. Let me shine it where there's no glare. Look at that. Green Tea Magazine. All right. GRN TEA. Now, because I want to read it. Stands for Gaming, Restaurants, Nightlife, Technology, Entertainment, and Arts. I think this is super dope because they're looking to serve multiple avenues, which is good if you were somebody that's involved in nightlife, technology, gaming, restaurants, arts. You have an opportunity to potentially be in this magazine. The name is perfect because it's not a specific thing to Seattle. And also, all three of these guys are Seattle. They're transplants. They're not even from here. They're people who came to the area from their respective wherever. So, you know, I know Jay's from Cleveland. Like I said, I haven't met Joseph and Noah yet. But I would love to get all three of them to do an on-camera interview and be on the show. I think that would be super dope. But I think this is super cool. It's just three guys who have a vision. They want to impact lives. They want to, help create and pave ways for, millennials and any and everybody who has dreams and aspirations of being part of these things. But this magazine also gives you the opportunity to hear about new things that are happening around your city. Jay had mentioned in the interview that I think they're hoping to take this and push this to the point where you could probably have one of these magazines for every major city across America, maybe even get it global at some point. So I think that is super dope. But again, this is the Green Tea magazine, Green Tea, GRN TEA. They do, if you check out their website, which is just greentea.com, they have newsletters sign up. They have information about the founders. So Joseph is the art director, Jay is the creative director, and then Noah's the editor. I mean, these guys are really putting it together, man. You can get a subscription. This is a bi-monthly magazine. I think it's super dope. And as of this last issue that dropped for October, November, it marks their 1-year anniversary. So they've really been grinding really hard to get this put together. I know they have some featured, like a little spread about my bro, Doug Baldwin, he's in there. I know they have my man Cliff Averill on the cover. Like Cliff is a good dude. Cliff does a lot of things in the community. I mean, he helps people in other countries with water, and he's just getting people set up, man. Like, they're really connecting with people who are doing big things, not only for their people, but for other people around the world. I think this is super dope, man. So if you get a chance, I urge you to go to greentea.com, check out their magazine. If you have any interest in being an ambassador of the magazine, they have a whole section for that, and they can get you all set up. And listen to the interview. It's on the YouTube channel. If you go to Memeco Jackson, you can find it. It will be uploaded tomorrow. It's just a 15-minute audio clip of us talking and chatting. But hey, man, shout out to Jason Hicks. It's one of my guys, man. It's family right there. So shout out to him. And like I said, I say this on the interview. When y'all hear me talking about busting up Hall of Famers at the basketball court, Jay is a part of a Hall of Fame. So listen to that interview to find out which one. And that's how you can measure how nice I am on the court, because I give him buckets. But anyway, man, this is the last show for the week. I will be back with you guys next Tuesday. I appreciate you tuning in, man. Like, subscribe, share, do all the stuff. Support your boy. Send me your feedback. I love it. I love interacting with you guys. You guys have been great. So it's all love, man. Appreciate it. And we will see you next week. What song do we about to have? We might have to close out with this Donnell Jones, Where I Want to Be. It's an old classic record. But I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good weekend. Be safe out there. Don't do anything that I would do, or do everything that I would do and all the stuff that I wouldn't do, because you only live once. So why not? But I'm going to get up out of here. I'm going to catch y'all on Tuesday. Stay lit. And that's the end of the show, man. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but it is what it is. We'll be back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the Memeco Jackson Show, and I am your host, Memeco Jackson. I'm going to see you next week. I'm out.